Hello everybody, welcome back to PadFootTD Games. My name is Zach, I'm the voice behind the icon, and today we're back in Planet Coaster for a little bit more of time-lapse action. Now I hate doing this because, you know, I love to be able to bring you guys for every single step, but I am hoping to open the park this year. We did not open it last year because of COVID. We're getting ready for our opening weekend, and since real parks in New England did not open, we decided not to open as well because that's where our park takes place. Just taking a look here as what kind of scenery and stuff do we want to put around to start finishing off the Gondola Station. Now I realized the ending shots that I had sent, or the screenshot, everything was finished with this station. This station was not finished when I had done the time-lapse, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, I'm feeling really good to be back in it. Really good to be recording videos for you guys again. Work has gotten very hectic. As you can see, we're trying to figure out sight lines. Right now I'm just popping through what can we see? What can you see behind? What you can see through? Is there any clipping? Any major clipping, I should say, as we're looking through here. And now we're working on keeping all the areas where we don't want guests out of them. These are just some of the details that we're trying to be looking for. And I don't think I do it in this episode, but we are talking about in the future, you know, we, as in I, talking about making it so we're not actually using the pre-made railings and actually making our own, which I think makes a little bit more sense. Here now, I'm just going to go through and finish all the detailing that we possibly can. I realized that I did not go back and fix that path that is actually dipping into the ground back there, so we will work on that if we don't finish in this episode. I actually filmed this and time-lapsed it a while ago. I'm recording the audio on February 22nd at this point, so I do apologize for that. But here we are. I noticed that a little bit of the station, because the way that I made the building, was clipping out. So again, I was just looking for some sort of scenery to kind of cover it up, and there's a lot of western scenery. I've had people ask me in the past, why do we have such a big western area? Now, we had a really big one. We've squished it down a little bit, even though we're adding one big huge ride on the side. And the reason is because that's some of the best stuff we have is our western world area. So now we're sitting here adding the realism factors of just adding the air conditioning units that would be used for this space. Now, this is not a closed space, but odds are we'd at least have some air conditioning that's flowing in here during the summer months when it gets really hot, because you got a lot of people going to be waiting in line to get on and off the gondola system anyway. So we're just trying to hide these from the public eye. They're not always hidden nicely. If you ever notice when you're at a theme park, it's not always perfect, but people they do try their best. Now, continuing on, we've got the air conditioning outside. We wanted to get the AED in as well, because I'm trying to make sure that every station has an AED, has a fire alarm system. You can see it. I actually just put it in there. A fire extinguisher, exits, and a fire hose. Now, this hose is actually not necessarily intended for putting out fires. It's actually meant for more vomit or disgustingness. That's actually the purpose of that hose. No staff member should be taking the hose and attempting to put out a fire if one is to begin. Their job is to get everybody out. So we're just going to be placing these up here on the wall, getting the AED up, getting the fire alarm up, as well as the correct color for what's required to be, which here in, well, where the park's supposed to take place, which I kind of put it in like Massachusetts, would be red. It just has to be visible to everybody around. So while I'm still putting in these, I might as well share a little bit. I've got a show that starts filming tomorrow, since we're going to be filming and then putting it out on like a pay-per-view access for everybody. So I can't list it here because it is to do with my school, and I do try to keep this hobby life and my real life separate besides the vlogs and everything we do. So sorry you guys can't see that, but that's where I've been. That's why videos have been on time, but everything feels like it's old. Well, it is. I filmed some of the stuff, like the video that came out today, I filmed like 3 months ago. It's just how life's been for me. It's been hectic. It's been hell, but I'm trying to get back into it. Summer's coming. Spring break is coming, so videos will be pumping out once again. Again, I'm starting to find that it's not the lack of interest that I have for playing these games. It's actually kind of the opposite, but, you know, people don't usually want to watch a full series, and I understand that. If they're not interested in the game, which is fine. And I've been playing a lot of games on my own, but I've taken them off the channel, such as City Skylines. Just for my own wanting to play, I've put in another 40 hours into Timber Pines since that last episode, and it's just because I wanted to. So, oh well. you live and you go, but now it's just affording the games and broadening it and bringing up some of the other stuff. I'm stopping here for some reason. Honestly, couldn't tell you why I'm stopping there, but we got the exit signs up, we got the fire extinguisher up. Now it's time to put our control light to get it going, just to let the ride operator know that everything is clear on the other end to send the next gondola. And of course, I didn't put on snap angles, so... Oh, sorry, the husky's walking around, so I had to kind of focus on that for a second. So yeah, that's what's going on here. Now getting the Pucos, for lack of better words, set up. You want it close by, and it's going to be out in the open, but it, you know, powers that be, that's just how it goes. Sorry if you can hear the heater going in the background, or the dishwasher. Again, our house is only 2 big rooms, so don't be surprised if you hear stuff in the background. It's just the dogs walking around. Just the nature of the beast of our house. It's snowing outside, and it's freezing again, so of course you're going to hear the heater as well. Going in here, even though it is going to be partially air-conditioned, we're not going to use that all the time. A lot of time you're going to need the fans. So we're actually installing fans in the space. I realize, I think is it at this point, or had we already fixed it? Maybe we had already fixed it. All the lights that I had put in here, that are here, they were actually floating. It looks like I had already fixed them, which is awesome. They were floating from the ceiling, so there was an oops on that. So it looks like we had. Getting it in for proper ventilation in the space. I actually love these fans, and I know if you look at it, you're like, oh, they're not themed. You know, has nothing to do with the park, not westerny. Go to any non-Disney or Universal park, or even, I think even when I was at Universal, they were like this too. They're just regular out-of-the-box fans. They don't build special fans for things like this, so these are perfect. I love these items. They're probably one of the most used objects in the park because we do have them in every ride. Any ride that's got a station and a queue, I just definitely threw my phone onto the ground. Don't worry about it. But again, that's what we're adding here. You can see that. So yeah, so just to kind of continue on with what's new. I've got a show that's going on. I'm going to be teaching for only 2 more weeks. I don't teach the second half of the semester. And I don't have a show to be worrying about. So there would be that I don't have to worry about. And I get a chance to be able to make you all some more videos. Seeing how they look, how do they spin. They're looking pretty good. Gonna copy the same thing over there without hitting the staircase. And I think, yeah, I decided not to. As we're moving around, again, I'm just starting to work on detail. Now, we did not open last year. We did not open the park. Now, we did this intentionally because, excuse me, this takes place in like fictional Massachusetts or like in New Hampshire. So we closed for the winter to do all the renovations or building new rides. I actually just want to say, so we've called it over there. We've said that it's done and it's good, and now we are starting to get ready to build our other gondola station. Now, this is the main focus of this one. I love how this whole area has come to be. But let me just finish this and we'll go back to the gondola station. So, we closed, 2019 in the wintertime. And we decided that we were going to... Oh my god, has it been that long? Oh my god, it has been. Okay, so we decided to close in towards the fall of that year, and we took out Dragon's Fury, we took out Tornado, and we took out... The kiddie coaster was already gone. We already took that out. And the expectation was that we were going to put Copperhead Strike in. We are also going to be building the shooting ride that is unnamed at this point, and moving the antique cars over out of storage and expand. So that was the plan. 2020 came along. We were far behind schedule because of everything that was going on with us getting ready to move and change of jobs and just everything that was kind of going with it. So I pretty much said, okay, you know, we're behind schedule. We had changed everything into the park to the new color scheme. We had updated the lighting, the pathing, the scenery. We trying to make everything look really, really nice. And you know, not professional is not the word, but to look realistic. And that was something that we were really hoping for the park. You can actually see me struggling to get the path lined up with the pre-placed curb back there. And right now I think I'm just scaling up secondary entrance. So just to continue with this, so we closed the park. We were going to open up in 2020. COVID hit, and we said, okay, that's some time for us to continue to work. And of course I got busy with work and everything that was kind of going on with that. And then we were not able to open due to COVID because Six Flags New England was not able to open last year at all. I'm looking really quick. So I'm looking at this, and I was like, okay, this is how we're going to do our secondary entrance, because if people are going to ride the gondola, they're probably going to then want to enter the park, like back into the park. They're not going to want to get off to get right back on. And here I decided, you know what, that'll be at a future thing. We'll probably end up moving the teacups, or we'll be adjusting the go-karts to having them... Excuse me, worst time. Always worst time. The, moving the go-karts to be able to get into the park a little bit differently. Hold on, I gotta take a drink. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Well, that sucked. Yeah, teaching and then recording a time-lapse video all on the same day. At least the audio for it. So that's what ended up happening. Is the real-life parks weren't able to open, so we didn't either. Now, of course, busy with work, I wasn't able to do as much as I wanted to. But the hope was to focus on a lot of renovations that we wanted to do. To finish the Copperhead Strike, to do a really nice station with it. And then we ended up adding pyrotechnics as well. You can see that I'm closing off that gap that I had originally done, taking down the work walls to be able to start working with this area. And there were so many things that I wanted to be able to do during 2020. Well, everything got busy, and we had done a little bit, such as finally getting the gondola systems ready, tearing down a bunch of, we tore down the original restaurant, because we're going to build a kind of like a walking pier outdoor eatery, because I'm thinking of COVID times, so that's what we have to do. So there's that. We're starting to build the station here. So the thought process here is this is where you could enter from the parking lot. One of the parking lots. We're eventually going to build a garage and all kinds of other stuff, but that's all future plans. But here is where you can park, and you can hop on the gondola, and the gondola will bring you right over to the park, and you have the ability to buy tickets here, because if you notice, it doesn't go to the front entrance, it goes directly into the park. So I'm looking for something a little bit more modern than our entrance, our main entrance, and everything else like that. Excuse me. So we're just going through here, going with those blue steel pieces. They are literally the most beautiful pieces that I think we have. I love them. That's why our entrance doesn't look super unique, and it's because I wanted that mix of cabin feel and all kinds of other things. So here I am looking for, I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the lighting truss, which I tried already looking in as light or lighting, and I could never remember where it was. So instead, I click on it. Yeah, now I'm attempting to find it. It was in building. So we're doing this just metal and this trussing, and it just felt right. It feels cheap-ish, like in the world of what I was going for. So I'm really actually happy in how it turned out. So we're starting to put these skeletons on there. Again, instead of just putting that up, I'm trying to, okay, where would I put the weight loads? Where would I put everything? And that's really what I'm going for here. And semi-consistent. Semi. I'm going to be very, very clear with that. semi. But this was a really fun build, and I was really happy on how it came out. So you have the ability to come here. You'll see a little bit later we're going to end up building shops, and you can head right into the park by hopping on the gondola, and it'll bring you to Old Riverside. So that's what we're working on right here, just getting the supports evened out enough where they look semi-realistic of where placement would be. The reason why we're doing time lapses, and because I know a lot of people don't like them, they'd rather watch every step, and I would love to be able to provide every single step, but we're going to be running out of time. I only put out one Planet Coaster video a week. That was what we were originally doing. I want to be clear on that. We've had to adjust since then. And for us to open in May, that only gives us a handful of episodes, and we've got a lot that we want to finish. I wanted to get the Gondola System in. You can see now that I'm like, okay, this is going to be in the path. Are we going to work with this? How are we going to do this? See, it's right in the middle of the path. Yeah, I'm like, let's just move it over. Let's just have it overhang. It's fine. So I love, that's one of the things I love about building like this. You know, when it's all imaginary in terms of I don't have to worry about cutting twice and measuring once and screwing that up. I do have the ability to edit it as we go. So we wanted to get the gondola stations finished, which is what we're actually going to be finishing right here in this episode. And then I had to take another break because I was working so much with school. There was so much that was going on with the school, and then we started getting into show prep, and then it was vacation in December, and here we are now, February 22nd, and I can't believe it's been like a blink of an eye. Sorry for another gap. I know that can be really frustrating. I just don't always catch every single one. So, taking a look here, think I'm liking how it's coming out. I'm trying to figure out right now. I know I'm thinking, okay, where are we going to put this? Where are we going to put that? So that's a lot of the planning phase that's happening in these time lapses instead of me just talking to you. So, we wanted to get the gondola stations done. I know I've said that about 9 times so far, so bear with me. We're now going to be working on what's going to look best for the security fence, because again, we're working with the general public of people being able to sneak into the park. That's one thing that I see a lot of people accidentally, I know it's not intentional, they accidentally skip how would you keep outsiders outside your park in some of the smallest areas. So for this one, it's how to keep people from going into the gondola area that looks nice, but also not being able to sneak in, get on one, and get into the park for free. So always doing some perimeter updates on how to make everything safer for our guests inside and safer for our wallets. So after the stations, the other things that we were hoping to complete, we finished Copperhead Strike. I think I did that off camera. There's a handful of things I had to do off camera. The Dipper, which is our wooden roller coaster, has been rebranded. Now, the ride is still exactly the same, but it is now called a Blue Eagle. There's just a really nice sign that was in the shop, in the Theme Maker Toolkit, that I could not put into the ride. So there would be that. So we've got that already, which is awesome. In the next time lapse, you're going to see us working on our gift shop, our very first gift shop, and we will also be working on our arcade. Those are the 2 other big ticket items that I wanted to work on. We still have to complete work on the renovations of our entrance, our main entrance. We're really just working and putting office space in, putting in new turnstiles, putting in new fans, possibly adjusting the lighting, because I don't know how sold I am on it. Even though I was ready to do it in 2020, I don't think I'm sold on it come 2021. So there's a lot of little work. We do have a bathroom now in USA Land. USA Land needs a better name and a sign. We're hoping to get excuse me, the diner in USA Land at least started. There has been some debate on that. With COVID and everything, there is some debate about putting it actually outside instead of having an indoor diner. I'm not sold on either yet, but I do need to make a decision sometime soon. So we're going to have to be working on that, because we're already going to have the outdoor eatery out by what used to be the Dipper. So we're going to be working on that. What else? Those 2 things are complete. We've done touch-ups on a couple of rides. We've done renovations on a couple of rides. We're going to be working with staff again. I got to get everybody trained and actually hiring more staff because the park has almost tripled in size officially since 2019. So I love some of the stuff that we've been doing, and I love what we've been able to accomplish. But still just trying to fit all the pieces together. And here you can see us wrapping that fence around, trying to make it look nice. Now, I love the fact of the freedom that we do have in Planet Coaster. That's what Planet Coaster does that Roller Coaster Tycoon could never do. We're not working specifically on a grid system. We can put anything, anywhere, anytime, which I've always said since the beginning I love so much. Now, you'll notice that this time-lapse is not really fast. Why did I do that? I thought that the last time-lapse that I'd done was actually a little too fast, and some of the motions that I was attempting to do were a little too jarring. So I decided on this take to adjust that, and I think it's paid off. Let me know if, for this style, if I have to do a time-lapse, if that works. So we're looking at that. That perimeter fence is not the worst. It's not the prettiest either, but again, that's just kind of what you gotta do to keep people out with limited. You know, I can't make a custom. I could. I'm not going to make a custom fence for the ride itself. So those are some of the renovations that we want to do and need to do. In another episode, you also see us working on our Western restaurant. Now, our Western restaurant in old Riverside. Come on, get it lined up there. There you go. Was our only restaurant in the game. And it was just like the kind of walk in, and there was no theming. It was just like this big building. And what we've done is we've put that further inside. We've built a kitchen. We have then added animatronics and lighting and all kinds of different things to make it feel more realistic. So here we are now. I'm putting in on the final touches of our boundary fencing to be able to keep people out of where we don't want them to be, and vehicles, by the way. Which we take into account a little bit later as we start to do some stonework. So here I'm thinking about, okay, what's the next step? What's the next thing that we need to do? Okay, we're able to keep people out. That's fantastic. Now, how do we keep people out from getting into the queue? Which is going to be our next problem and our next, what's going to be our solution to put this together. So, yeah, that is where we are sitting with the park. I'm really happy on where this is going and what we've got in the future. I'm really proud. I'm really proud of what we've been able to accomplish. Here we go as we start figuring out how can I get kind of rid of that gate. I'm not really happy with the railing that's there on the path, and I do know that we can remove it. That is something that I think we do here in the future. If not, I will. And replace it for this wall. This wall's tall enough where people can't easily jump over it. It's tall enough. It's about the size of a person to be able to keep people out of where we don't want them to go. So here I am trying to freehand exactly. Yeah, trying to line it up. How exactly are we going to want this to go? Because I want it lined up there. I screw that all up. It does nothing. And we click it there. And now I'm like, okay, what are we going to make this look like? Are we going to divide it like this? Okay, this looks good. Really, again, it's supposed to look good from the outside, not the inside. Okay? But it would keep people out, and also it keeps the separation between cars and people. That's one of the other big things that we always have to worry about. You can see that I'm trying to get this lined up, and it is fighting me like there is no tomorrow. Again, I can't get it, and then I'm like, okay, fine, I'll move it over here. It just didn't want to line up, but it can be tricky from time to time. But that is pretty much the basic layout of everything that's going to be here. You're going to see a quick edit, so I do apologize for that, but I have to go feed the horses now, and I'll continue the commentary when we return. Alright, thank you guys for bearing with us on that one, and sorry you can hear the furnace in the background. It's currently like 2 hours later. Alright, so we're looking here, and I'm looking, okay, what do we want? These are going to be the new turnstiles that we're putting in, so I figured I might as well grab from there, make sure they're all consistent. I realized that, damn it, I can't rotate that way. So you can see me here gloriously fighting with these turnstiles to get them upright. You'll see that I lay them out. Yep, 3 fits. That's a little squeeze for scale here. Okay, to be able to know who goes in and out. And then I see Oh my god, look how look how tilted those are. So I know instantly on the other side it's going to cause me some harm. So just getting these all lined up, beautiful. Again, I just love being able to put exactly where we want everything to be. As I say, hopefully I rotate that a little bit more. And then we've got 2 entrances here. But yeah, so I just took care of the horses. They're happy, they're healthy. We're cold and wet, because that's what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with another storm of 3 inches of snow. We just can't get rid of it, and I'm sick of it. And then we put in 3 metal detectors. Again, for long-term afterwards, we're going to probably be putting in a secondary entrance over here instead of having to take the gondola, because right now, the way it's set up is that we would have to take the gondola over. There's not a secondary entrance. They are handicap accessible, at least that's what we're saying they are. But again, it comes down to giving other options that are going to be there. So as you can see, we're getting set up to keep traffic out. Again, it is a parking lot. And I realize what it looks like now, and it's so beautiful, but here there's so many bare bones, you can't even tell what direction I'm even trying to go in, which I kind of find hilarious. Huh. Alright, so we're continuing on. Now I'm looking at, you can tell my ADHD 100%, because I gotta jump from project to project, and you can tell when I'm talking, or anytime you've watched it live, I gotta go back and forth. I've got no set, oh, let's do this, let's do this. If I think of it, I'm gonna do it. So right now we're putting up the facade rocks, just to block the fence a little bit from the parking lot. Now, of course, we're gonna do layering and everything, and it goes on to the concrete here. But again, this looks better to me than just seeing this fence. I'd rather see a cluster of giant rocks and boulders and some mountainage, or if not, like a little stream or something. Again, just like how we did up front, to fill in some of these empty areas. And then, of course, disguising in with bushes and just doing layering. Layering, I find, is really important. All this took up was probably about 2 tiles, 3 tiles, if you think about it. But again, it does keep everything nice and neat. And of course, the road's not technically attached yet. I don't know. I don't even know how we're going to do that yet. I really don't. I wish I had a better answer for that one. Come here, Ezzy. If you want me to throw the toy, I'll throw the toy. I'm just talking to nobody again. Don't worry about it. Okay, so we're here. We finished up that rock facade and some bushes. Again, looking good, filling in the gaps. Now I'm looking at the possibility of adding our ticket booth and information center, where if you didn't already have a ticket, you could actually come and get it. Now, with this, you can already see I'm sitting here thinking, okay, that's too big. That's already too big, but of course, we've got limits that are already zoned. And my original thought here was I was not going to build in behind the go-kart track, because I want that for future expansion, or again, for decoration. I'm really thinking a lot. I'm using a lot of the mods. You can see me testing out a couple things here to get myself down to the level of the guests as they would walk in. To really think, okay, what can they see? What do we not want them to see? Which becomes very, very important in the world of theme parks. You want to be able to preserve the magic. The last thing they want to see is a dumpster behind, the buffet. That's not what you want them to do, nor do you want them to smell it. So you really got to, take in account how you're going to do everything. So, of course, I'm setting these in here. We actually turned one of these into, I think we ended up actually doing 2. Now I can't remember. But they actually get turned into actual offices, so they actually function. Here, putting up our barricades. I am a stickler. If you haven't been able to tell you, I am a stickler for putting up fence and barricades and railings and stuff like that. I don't know why. It's always been that way for me. I find it unhealthy. I do apologize. That one's in the concrete. Did I not catch that on the way? Of course, I was probably filming this late at night. Again, it's been a while. Yeah, lining it up with the fence, putting in the pegs, and just seeing how far we actually need it to go. So, just sliding it down, looking good, everything looks nice and solid. And now I'm like, okay, well, what are we going to put on top? It's going to be some sort of glamping, because right now it just looks like It looks like Gondola Station. So this is not the one we actually stick with. I'm pretty certain. Pretty certain. Again, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, it's not the worst, but again, you're looking at it from the road. So I'm like, okay, well, let's group it together. And let's see what it looks like on the other side, too. Again, where do you want people's focus to be? Where do you want their eyes to be? And here, this is what I thought I wanted. I thought I wanted just a sign for everybody to be able to see it. And I was like, you know what? Let's switch it up a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the system to remember the color. So what I did in there is I clicked on the color, which automatically show up in my color wheel on the bottom, or my color palette tray on the bottom, because these are the colors that we've gone with, and it becomes interesting. Sorry, getting text left and right now. It's very interesting because when you start working with a palette and then you want to stay there, it actually becomes kind of tedious. It really does. It really becomes tedious of like, oh, right, I forgot. I can't just pick a blue, and especially since we picked a unique blue. Here I am just seeing what Skyway would look like, you know, kind of spread out and angled. I did not do any sort of mapping at all of distance. And I was like, you know what, this doesn't seem to be reading the best in my personal opinion. But let's keep trying, you know. Again, unless you've got 100% in your mind, I don't usually use pictures as reference. Once in a while I will, as some sort of inspiration, but usually I like to try to think of everything in my own head, which is why you see a certain palette, you see a certain color. So here's where I make the decision, almost certain that we make the decision. Working slow here. Also, I got a pain behind my eye that showed up all of a sudden, and there's still 17 minutes left of this video to explain what's going on here. I promise the next one will be edited better, and I promise it'll be shorter. I know, 40 minutes of me just talking. This is exactly what I do for class, and I hate doing that long of just sitting there and talking. If you haven't been new to the channel, hi, welcome. Name's Zach, great to meet you. I am a college professor. I like to say that I'm a technical director. I'm a technical director for theater. That's what I am. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But everybody calls me professor, and I try to tell them not to. And that's how that one goes. Me sitting here bitching about stupid first world problems. Alright, so here we are. We're just going through coloring Skyway. Again, trying to keep the theme, but also make it exciting as you come up. One thing that I've learned, for me personally, is I make my opinion about a place very quickly, and I'll stick with it for a while. If you don't have a good entrance, or something that'll catch my eye, even if something as basic as this is basic as all can be. Okay, I am not saying anything different to that. It is 100% basic. But it grabs my attention because of the lights, and it's a soothing color in my mind, and that's what appeals to me. Now, it's different for everybody else, but you want it to be engaging. And in theme park, real estate is very important. Now, what do I mean by that? It comes down to, all right, don't have any open areas. Can we put a vending machine there? Yeah, we can. All right, let's put it there. You know, there's just some things that you really want to excel at or you know, do better. And one of those things for me, as I fight with this, sorry, that flashing is real obnoxious, was to be a space filler. I wanted to fill space. And I know I can't put these vending machines right next to each other, which is a little frustrating in my mind. But again, it allows me to try. It allows me to poke around with it, and at least there's something there that the guests can interact with instead of just walking around. Now, here's the thing. Since there is no technically entrance on this side, so the guest would have to walk in, and then, you know, so imagine this. They're going to have to get on in Old Riverside. And then they'll have to come back for it to be like a complete ride. So I find that really interesting. So eventually we are going to put an entrance over here just so that guests actually want to ride it. The theming is good. It's pretty high. So we do have that going for us, which is awesome. Again, we have exposed trash cans. So we're moving back a little bit. We have exposed trash cans. by the entrance, and by the ticket booth. Now, those I did because, again, this is kind of a thrown together area. This is kind of feel intentional. I'm always saying you don't want everybody to see the dumpster. Well, we're showing them the dumpster because it is temporary. Here you can see us put in our beautiful bins. I love our palette change. I love that we had done that. For those of you who do not know, our park was green and black. Those were our colors for so long. So long. Those were the colors that we had. Going very modern feel here, you can see that. Those were our colors for so long in the park since the very beginning. And then we finally were starting to change things to our color, red and green, and I went around the park and relit everything. We put in brand new lighting, because again, the theory of this park is that we bought a mom and pop place that was kind of on the verge, and we wanted to bring it into the current century to make it a full-size, full-glam theme park, in which we did. And I love these little pieces. The first spot I ever felt like I could really use them happily. So really happy on how these ones turned out. I love this look so very much. And there's a secondary wall there, and I think I see it. If not, I am gonna have to go in right after there we are, and get rid of it. But see that on the wall, that looks so good to me. I was very, very happy, and I'm like, okay, well, let's use the same idea for lighting inside, which is exactly what we do. But again, it's supposed to feel kind of thrown together, not last minute, but something that could be done over a season, and that's exactly what we're going for here. But yeah, so so I'm trying to remember where we were. Guys, don't be playing right behind me. All the dogs he's talking. Let's play right behind him. And these I'm just kind of placing there, and then I'm like, okay, let's square them off a little bit. Let's put them in the truss. So one of the things that we decided to do, all of a sudden, this was always a whim for me. All of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I like the green and black anymore. It's harsh on the eyes. Green and black, because what we did, we put all these trash cans around. We did all the lighting. We put all these trash cans around. We were ready, and we were going to make it beautiful, and we did. But when I was looking at it, I'm like, green and black just feels so harsh. It's not the vibe that we're going for. So, what does that mean? That means it's time to go with something that's a little bit easier on the eyes. And what that is, God, I'm getting very nitpicky here. We decided with this blue and white. White is very easy on the eyes anyways, and majority of people enjoy blue. So that was the thought process behind this, and then we ended up taking a darker blue for a lot of our accents. So I'm very happy how that turned out. This is a beautiful station. Again, not super bright. I don't want it to be really bright. And you're able to climb on board. Now I decided, okay, it's time. It's time for me to build streetlights. And of course, they're in like 3 different parts. Why? I don't know. I love the freedom that this game gives you, but again, sometimes it just feels like it can be tedious. So again, not super complaining, but just little notes that I want us to do. Again, I want all construction walls down, more or less. You can actually see where the bathroom is under construction there on the right. But I would love when we open up in May for everything to be crisp and clean and ready to go. We are going to have limited crowds. What's going to happen is I'm going to end up seeing what Six Flags New England does for their capacity, and that's what we're going to copy. So that's the plan. People might remember, I think we did this. We did a quick trial open during COVID time. At the very beginning of COVID time, when we were doing like previews of, oh god, I just saw that disaster. Of COVID time, we did. Really, that's slightly off, and that's gonna bug me. We allowed like 2,000 people in, which is not even close to what the capacity of this park could be. But it's what we had to do, and I think it's gonna be around those numbers again to let people in. So we will open up a couple times at limited capacity this year, and I'm excited for it. I've got ideas for I had ideas, I should say, but we had ideas for a lot of things during the summer, and I'm really sad that we're not gonna be able to do some of them. One of them, we were gonna have a summer concert series. My plan was actually where all of our staging area is for all of our construction equipment, I was actually going to put a stage up because that's literally what I do in real life. And there's going to be an idea of, oh, there's a concert series every year, during the summer. And then, you got the Halloween, and I was thinking about doing a haunted house, and then Christmas, I was going to do Meet Santa and gingerbread and snow and everything. The problem is now with COVID, I don't think I can do the summer series. I literally don't think I can do it because, again, so many people around each other, not around each other, so that really sucks. And you can see lighting finish in the parking lot, and there's that little detail. We don't usually see the park at night. That looks fantastic. That restaurant is partially under construction right now. That bathroom is actually complete to go with the theming of the area. So it does just come down to what the real world does is what we're going to do in the simulator. That's how I'm treating it. I know I see a lot of people, not doing that. That's fine. You build your park. You build all that you possibly want. But I want us to have goals. I want us to have some sort of budget. As you all know, the future of the park, we're looking at that shoot 'em up ride. And then Pirates Land was actually supposed to be coming in 2021/2022. The problem is we are so far behind right now, and with all of COVID, it would put a damper on it. I am not going to lie, it 100% would bring it to a screeching halt. Because if I can't open to bring people in, I'm not going to build new rides. Now, I'm still going to be working on Pirate World. We got a lot of things that we want to finish before then. You can see our wash station that we have intentionally there. So it's just one of those things where we got a lot that we want to do, but we want to keep it in the realm of realism of, excuse me, is it possible? There's our social distancing sign too. Some of the things they come up on the toolkit I love, and I actually go out there probably once every 2 weeks to see what's new, and I love to be able to put it in the game. The problem is I keep getting more and more stuff where I have to stop, go through it. Oh, what can we use this for? Like, oh yeah, I gotta remember, we gotta put up Wi-Fi zones. Oh, right here, we gotta put in wheelchairs. Wheelchair access, gotta go down the other end. Every once in a while, I just gotta stop and go through here. The bag check 10. And when I had filmed all of this, I want to be clear with everybody, I filmed this in November. This was intended that in December, the first week of December, we were going to be able to open for Christmas. That's how busy I have been. I hate it. I hate that I've been that busy, and it's literally here mid-February. No, that's a lie. Late February, because it's the 22nd. Seriously, that's not how anybody should live their life. But, say la vie, that's what I get paid for. We're all busy, and, I don't do this as a full-time. I do this as a hobby. So here we are building a restroom because we were very under amount of restrooms when we bought this place, and we're just trying to make it all come together of that realism of making sure that everybody's got the facilities that they need. Right here, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for the roof because, again, these are all huge. They're all ginormous, and I hate it. I hate how big this is. And then I have to go with this. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But, again, everything is scaled so large. Here I'm with the tent. I couldn't remember what color I had used, so I decided, alright, we'll just grab from the other end. And we're taking over part of the parking lot. Now, we'll end up blocking off a handful of spots there and moving some handicapped spots just to make sure everybody's safe until I can restructure this area. But this is a temporary permanent structure. Now, what do I mean by that? Because that's complete BS as you know it. I was trying to grab a trash can, but I couldn't. There we go. I couldn't get it to select. This is us rushing. This is us trying to meet a date. Okay? The building is very quickly put together. And we're just trying to figure out exactly, okay, how can we make sure that we open this year? And as I was saying before, we were planning to open into December for a quick Christmas, and I wanted this done to be able to have this ride open, because we're going to open a handful of rides. And the problem is, we're very limited. There's actually not a lot of rides in the parks because we're working from the ground up. USA Land opened it up a lot. Getting the strollers in there, and then we're going to get the wheelchairs in there in a moment for rent. It was really interesting. I was thinking about it before we started a lot of this, before USA Land was starting to be put together. Do I really leave them like that? I guess I do. Yeah, and then we're going to do the handicap accessible sign. Coming into the park, you had Runaway Railroad. You had... Oh, God. Insanity, which is in the back. You had the Dipper, so you had 2 roller coasters, because Copperhead Strike was not finished yet. And all of a sudden, put the brakes on really quick. That's all the rides we had. Oh, and the merry-go-round. USA Land, we brought everything back because there was a little bit of time where we moved the go-kart track. We removed it, actually, because it was out back, and we didn't have it up yet. So, we were going to start the 2021 season with very few rides open, and it actually probably would have been financially a disaster in real life because people wouldn't have come for only 4 rides. We're on a better track now. This episode shows it. There's going to be a gap you're going to notice in the next episode. We'll be done with this, and we're starting to work on our gift shop, I believe is the next step. See a couple things that are already done, because again, I do some of this in my own free time. I just want to go in and create, but not sit here and make videos about it. So there you have it, everybody. I'm looking around I'm trying to figure out where everything is. I'm trying to figure out all the projects that I still want to do. Right here, I'm actually trying to find the fan that we have so we can keep the same color, because again, you'd be buying these things in bulk to save yourself a lot of money. But that is going to start bringing us to the end of our video. Thank you if you were able to sit through it this long. I know this was a lot of talking. This is really long, and it's hard for me. I want to be very clear on that. I'm not a fan of time lapses because I have to sit here and watch footage. This isn't fun. This isn't fun for me. So, gaming, will be back shortly with Planet Coaster, but there was a handful of things that I wanted to get done before I could do that. Yeah, see, spread those out. Much better. Much better. But we're going to put a couple final details here of like the extinguisher and then, of course, the ride light. Let us know what you think. I'm really happy to see Planet Coaster coming back again. I really can't wait until I can stop doing time lapses. But again, May is getting here so fast. And I'm excited for it, but we need to be at a good spot to be able to finish on time. And for me to be able to do that with only 1 episode a week, and I don't really want to change that, we're going to have to do a couple more time lapses. They'll be definitely shorter than this, but here we are just kind of putting on the final touches. Again, I'm like, oh, I'll put a building in here and get it lined up. Here's the problem. It sticks out. But here, I'm just trying to line it up perfectly. And so, you'll see us do an adjustment here. Again, not the end of the world, but it is things that we have to think about. So when we do this new entrance, it is going to be like a mini version of our main entrance. I'm almost certain, because the theming doesn't really change to come over here. So that is the game plan at this point. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. If you enjoy what you saw, we do try to put a video out here every day. And it feels really good to be able to do so. But with that, I thank you guys so much for coming out to this one, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!